Best-selling author Josh McDowell, when speaking about the authenticity and reliability of the Bible, he puts it in two ways. He says, first question we have to answer is what we have what was written down? Mm-hmm. And the next question is what we have, is what was written down true? So let's go to the first question. Is the Bible that we hold in our hands today reliable? Is this what the authors wrote down, and how do we know that's so?
Right. I've heard it framed many different ways. One is, how do we know the Bible is reliable? That said, let's start with the most important way of knowing. There's many ways of knowing whether an ancient document is reliable. Let's look at the big one. Manuscripts. A manuscript is a copy from the original document. If you have two manuscripts of an ancient document, for example, and they're in conflict, you don't know how accurate that document is. On the other hand, if you have 10 manuscripts, 9 agree, 1 is off, then you know, once again, you have some evidence for reliability. In the case of the New Testament, we have over 5,000 Greek manuscripts. While there is some conflict between them, none of them affect major doctrine. Another way of knowing the reliability is the writings. How close were they to the actual event? Once again, most historians will agree that the New Testament was written by 70 AD. Most of them are eyewitness accounts. Here's another way, is how close is the oldest document that we have to the events? Again, in the case of the New Testament, we have fragments from the 1st century, and we have entire books in the 2nd century. Extra biblical accounts. Most people don't know that there's at least 6 documents that make that point to 70 details about the life of Christ. 2 of them mention an empty tomb. Several of them mention a crucifixion. Another way of knowing is historical support. Does the historical archaeological finds that we have support what you're reading? In the case of Luke, Luke was a historian of the first order. He wrote the book of Luke, the Gospel according to Luke, and he wrote the book of Acts. And he wrote a lot of detail about his surroundings that we can verify and that we have verified. He mentions priests, 3 emperors, proconsuls, magistrates, senators, tax collectors, and we've been able to verify a lot of the surroundings and a lot of his writings based on those details. So he gives us a lot of opportunity to check his work for accuracy. All that said, the New Testament turns out to be the most accurate and reliable and authentic historical document that we have by a very, very large margin.